country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it.
Okay, firstly, I gotta address apologetics. It doesn't make sense, I'm not sorry, I don't get it. The fact that he was crucified means that we're all indebted. We should demand to have a culture that doesn't soon forget it. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess it. Christ is king, listen up, get the message. The time is short, the deception is impressive. The church itself is corrupted and wretched. They preach about grace, no righteousness expected. God gaze at the pulpit because their sin is accepted. The devil calls, they don't even try to reject it. They're employed by Satan, they are tax exempted.
Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Ain't a country club Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell
It's
it.
neither land of the free, nor is it home of the brave. When you got people here killing babies every day, and all the Christians here think that they can get away if they throw a couple
Is
bucks in the bucket
up,
someday.
everybody?
But I don't think that that's
Welcome
the way it
back
is. He said
to the main character podcast, level 46. Made possible by the Cult of Con. That's you guys. I am Con Man, and thank you for being here. Let's go. Dude. Let me go ahead and kill this music. Alright. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's great to be here. Welcome to halftime. For all of you guys working that 9 to 5 Monday through Friday grind, I'm here for you. Middle of the week, we made it to hump day. It's great to see you guys. I hope y'all are doing well. It has been a productive week for me. It has been an intense week for me. It has been a wild time. So we'll start by checking in with everybody. How is everybody doing? We'll start right up here at the top. We got Wendy right away, right off the bat, not wasting any time. Wendy, the captain of the big blimpin' party blimp. Great to see you, Wendy. Let's go. All right, and to everybody else, we'll give the customary. Everybody knows we love to have fun here on the Cult of Con. Despite being on the cutting edge of conspiracy content, we're also having the best time of our lives right here. I mean, if you ask me, I do this for fun, so let's go. There we go. I was hoping. It's always delayed now. I need to fix that. Something needs to be done to fix that. All right. Back to chat. What is up? We've got Samantha Fox, good to see you. We've got Half Truths, brother, welcome in. We've got Cage Fighter, welcome Cage, it's good to have you here. We've got Mad Pax, welcome back Mad Pax, always good to have you, my friend. We got Cody, welcome back Cody. I'm just slowly catching up here. Obviously, chat gets going before I get a chance to show up, and I hardly ever get to see what's going on, so just skimming here. What's up, Val? Welcome in, my friend. It's good to see you. We got Allison M, always bringing that heavy honk energy, honking boots. Apparently, and I gotta talk about this really quick before we get too far because I'll forget. Apparently, this is a thing now. You see this boot? This has been added. This has been added to the lexicon. We now have honking boots, and there's a story to it. I'm sure that Wendy knows more about it than I do. But apparently now we wear particular boots while we're honking, so let's go. These boots are made for honking, and that's just what they'll do. All right, y'all, we got Peter Hamlet. Let's go. Welcome in. We've got Amelia, Naomi, and Ben. We got like everybody pouring in. That must be when the notification went out. We got 4 people notified. What's up? Oh, Jenny Layton, Tartarian Prepper. Welcome in. I like it. Change of scenery, change of names. Let's go. We've got LEC Productions. Welcome, my friend. We also have Zigzag. I think, are we caught up? We got Oak Treble Down. Welcome, my friend from across the pond, or whatever you want to call it. All the way there in good old Australia. I hope to visit Australia one day. It's some place it's particularly close to my heart for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but I think it's probably the accent, maybe the dialect, I guess you could say. It's not fair to call it an accent because I probably have an accent to you. So in general, though, I just love the way Australian people talk. I'm sure there's some differences in the variances of the way but man, It's just the better English, if you ask me. Anyway, we got Angela O in Texas. Welcome in. We got people all over listening in. It's great. We got Craig Green. Oh, where'd it go? It always does this. Oh, don't worry. We'll catch back up. Where were we? Okay, I'm still not sure if I'm like, did I get too far back? Okay, we're close. I saw we had Craig Green. I should be able to find him. Here we go. First time caught you live. Great show as always, Con. Ready for this. Good to have you here, my friend. You're in luck tonight because I don't, well, I'm not going to say I don't have anything to talk about because I do. But, you know, I didn't plan like a big presentation, so it's going to be a lot more of like us chilling, like kind of like the early days, you know. It's kind of like before I started talking about too much stuff on here. Awesome. Good to see you, Pearl. It's good to have you. We've got Marlo 1959. Welcome in. Good to see ya. We got Mama Con listening, but I'm watching my 2-year-old grandson. So, well, I guess he will listen to the sound of my voice and acclimate. And then when he sees me for the first time, he'll be like, oh, I know that guy. I've already listened to him talk for 2 hours about nothing. Doctor Who's like, how is it Wednesday already? Welcome in, my friend. We also got Aaron here. I didn't miss you, brother. Listening while I grill some burgers. Yo, I'm jealous, bro. I'm always hungry. It's just a thing, you know. Guys gotta eat. Oh, yeah. There's lots of stuff coming on. I got stuff to talk about in regards to that, too. If somebody reminds me about the guys gotta eat thing. It's not a lot of news. Maybe I'll just tell you. So I feel like I'm running out of places to eat in my town, places I haven't been to already. And I'm not against the idea of going back to a place and trying something different. But lately it's been like, man, I need to learn how to cook for myself. And I've talked about this before. It's not that I'm completely inept. I'm actually quite good at like taking something like a recipe and manifesting it into reality, like an instruction manual. Fire me up. Legos, I can build stuff all day. So I feel like it's not that difficult, right, to understand there's a certain amount of things, there's a smell, there's a look you're going for. And I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect, but I believe that the time has come that very soon Guys Gotta Eat will soon evolve into not just a food review show, but also a cooking show where I will be making the food and then reviewing whether or not I screwed it up. So we'll see how it goes. And trust me, I'm my own worst critic, so it's going to be hard for me to give myself a good rating until I'm like, dude, I nailed it this time. So that's just something to think about for the future of Guys Gotta Eat. Everybody's in with their honking boots. We got Pepe Sylvia, my friend, welcome in. We got Bruce Jesse. What's up, buddy? Hey, I was going to get back to you, man, but as you know, I've had a very busy day, but I do want to talk to you about the car, and I'll send you a message, man, later on this evening. So it's good to have you here, brother. And I think I said that Aaron was here already. Welcome in, dog. We got Blake Higgins, my friend. Welcome in. It is a full bus tonight. We got Little Seasonus. This is like one of our original supporters right here. Little Seasonus was the very first Patreon supporter for the channel. So all credit to you, man. You got this thing going. I hope you're doing well over there. Hope the fam is good. We got, oh great, it's Amy, Allie Ray. All right, y'all. Now that we're pretty much on point, let's go ahead and let's slam another one of these down, a big one. Okay, that might have been a little too big. That was an excessively long one. I don't know if that was necessary. Sorry about that. Okay. It's great to have you guys here. It's great to be back. We made it to Wednesday. Those of us that are on that weekly grind, I have been remodeling what used to be the pro shop at my work. So they had a store that sold merchandise like, pertaining to sports, like jerseys and things like that, and custom stuff for teams and whatever. And they moved to a new location. None of it's my business. I don't know anything about it, but it has been my job to basically like strip the place, remodel it, like paint everything. I'm doing more like baseboards and all this stuff, and it's been really cool. I'll tell you, I like doing projects. I'm a project-oriented person. Like usually I derive all of my joy from projects, but as you guys know, I've also been deriving some of my misery from projects in the last week too. So 1 second, as I'm like hacking up whatever. But yeah, so, I mean, I've been doing painting and all kinds of... If you find white paint stuck to me somewhere, I think I got it all off. I've been pretty neat and tidy, but it's all over my pants, so whatever. But yeah, just doing that, breaking away, got a couple coats in on the main storeroom area, like what's the display area with like the windows you can see in and everything. All fresh, crisp, and white. We've got some people coming to check it out, so hopefully they move in there and everything just goes the way it's supposed to go. Which, let's see if I if I can draw people in with my remodeling skills. How about that? All right. Let's see what's going on here in the chat. All right. We got, let's see. We got Krista Ray. I don't know if I said hi to you yet. Welcome in. It's good to see you guys here. It really is. Like I said, Wednesday, we're halfway through. And it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. Obviously, it's probably time for me to pull the party bus in and get rid of the worst part of the show, which is Shilltown. So for those of you guys who might be new to the show, if you're interested at all in supporting, let me go ahead and get over here to Shill City. Let's find out where we're supposed to be. Oh, yeah, here we go. Patreon.com/thecultofcon. Unfortunately, I sometimes cross the line. I'm not even really sure where the line where the line is these days, but apparently you can't say certain things, and I've said it, and I don't know what to do. They won't forgive me anymore. I'm going to try one more time. I think I am allowed probably next month or this month to apply once again to try to join the monetization program. Then I can pit you all against each other in that like weird social credit thing that they've got now that's like, well, if you donate more money, you'll get a #1 crown next to your head. More super chats. But for now, I'm disbarred from any monetization on YouTube because I am a bad boy. And that is fine. But if you're interested in supporting the channel financially, you're welcome to join us on the Cult of Con page here at patreon.com. We also have a PayPal that is just PayPal at thecultofcon@gmail.com. So if you're interested at all in sending a donation to the channel, we would very much appreciate it. It helps keep things going. Buy food, car parts, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? We're just happy to have your help. And otherwise, there's a free tier. I post things up there all the time, random different stuff. And there's going to be quite a bit more of that coming soon because the projects thing that I keep talking about is about to evolve like beyond comprehension. There's so much stuff I have to deal with like really soon. It's like, you know what? Let's vlog it. Let's go. This is the Cult of Con. I'm Con. Let's talk about it. Okay. So if you want to support, come on over to patreon.com/thecultofcon. And here we'll pop up. We have a little tab with our subscribers. And I think it's all the same, except we did get Aaron here on the list as well. And I haven't gotten the most updated one yet available. But thank you all so much, including Aaron, for your support. Thank you guys for all that. And with all that being said, we are now departing Shilltown and we are heading into uncharted territory. And of course, there's more to be discussed. But before we get to the goods, I'm going to try to make sure I've caught up with all of you guys and that we're up to date. Somebody asked, and I just saw it, what was my thoughts on the Biblical Hitman shows? A Zigzag asking, thoughts on the Biblical Hitman show with Dustin Emos last night. So I was at work and I didn't get to catch the whole thing, but I caught like a good back portion of it, and it's my intent to go back to the start and watch it all the way through. I've heard of Dustin Emos before, but I've never seen any of his content or seen his face before, so I didn't like recognize him. And unfortunately, I missed the bulk of the conversation, so I'm gonna have to go back and hear what he said. I think he seems like a really driven individual. One of the things he was talking about that I thought was cool is that he's trying to branch out into making music, and his reasoning behind it is totally awesome, and I vibe with it. You know, the long form content that we do, especially like I know because I come on here and do like long streams, and that isn't always like attention spans are not as long as they often should be or could be, especially with younger people. And it's harder to reach younger people when you're on the thing for 2 hours. Like, you know, life is going, hustle and bustling. People don't always have 2 hours to just like sit and listen. I get it if you can do it at work, or if you're, you know, like a weird loner like me, you know, but if you're not, like if you're somebody who's super busy, you got a lot to do, and you don't have time to like sit and get 2 hours, music is a great way to reach people. I think he's really smart for doing that. Now, you guys know that I make music and have made some songs. I have been recently like feeling the itch, and it's kind of part of my project. It's one of the other things I'm going to talk to you guys about in a little bit as I explain some of this stuff. But music is one of the projects because I have kind of neglected to continue advancing my music creation, and I've also been kind of in a position where I just couldn't do it, and it's part of one of my projects is to kind of like prepare a location to do this. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But with all that being said, I thought it was an interesting show. I love Biblical Hitman. I think they have a really great angle because they've taken on that angle of letting people come and talk about their stuff. Instead of like, you know, it takes like a real weirdo to sit here and just run his mouth for 2 hours about any given thing. Like for myself, Like, I feel like it's a humbling experience at sometimes, and it helps me to understand other people, because it seems like you must be like the biggest narcissist on earth to run your mouth on the internet for hours. And like, I get it. There's obviously a place for everything. There's a time and place. You hanging out with your friends on a Wednesday night, you're having a good time. We might as well be like sitting at the dinner table or like at the bar and talking about whatever it is. So that's what I appreciate about this experience. But I can see a value in podcasts that are formatted in that way, because it allows people who have done the work to condense their research and experience and share it in front of an audience with a directive, like biblical hitmen being Christian guys. It helps us to kind of see things through that lens and to ask the questions that you want to ask, because you say, well, how does that pertain to the world from that like spiritual, scriptural perspective? And I appreciate that. Recently, Wendy shared with me a podcast called Haunted Cosmos, and it's very much the same in that way, that they tell stories and kind of reveal mysteries and such. But the angle being that kind of Christian podcast angle without it being nerfed. You know what I mean? There's so many church type podcasts that feel so restricted because the guys are like rigid and legalistic, and biblical hitman guys are really cool. I feel like if there's what a true follower of Christ looks like, I would say those guys definitely fit the bill in my mind, because they are about Jesus, and that's like their main pursuit. Like, you know, without it being like legalists, you know what I'm saying? There's always, different interpretations and intensities, and I think it's better that you start from a humble position, like, well, I don't exactly know, so let's listen. Let's hear what people have to say. I think they call it being 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I could probably do better at that. But historically, when I've had people on the show, I try to let them talk more, because that's the reason they're here, is so they can talk. And so like when the Rev was on here, I kind of like just let him carry it away. And actually, speaking of the Rev, I know you guys probably haven't seen him in a while, and I haven't heard from him either, and I feel bad, man. I miss that guy. Any of you guys feeling that right now, that like Rev is just nowhere to be found? He's MIA for the foreseeable, or for the last, like, I think it's been like almost a month since he's done a show. Hope he's all right, guys. If you're all available to, if you got a moment, just say a little prayer for the Rev, dude. I don't know what's up with him or what he's doing. I think life is kind of caught up with him and he's busy. But if that's the case, if he's doing okay, that's good. But in case he's not, in case he's in trouble, throw prayers for our guy either way, man. Because, we haven't seen him in a while, and it's, Peter Hamlet says, rebranding is capitulating. Connor likes to stick it to the man. That's funny. Well, I'm the one that said we could rebrand the little season. That was my idea. But mainly just because I didn't want to get harassed by anybody anymore. I wasn't really being harassed, but, I could see it happening to Paul. I could see JT under fire. It's like, man, why do you guys care so much about the most recent eschatology? It's not that it's not rooted in ideas that have existed a long time. It's just, it's the most recent movement in Christianity that's like doing anything, right? Are we going to talk about Little Season? I don't think I've had a Little Season podcast before. Maybe I have, but like I've never actually talked about it, and I'm not doing it now because we're talking about projects and we're talking about Bible 2. Okay, I'll say it. We got the thumbnail. Let me throw that up real quick for everybody. Bible 2 kind of reminds me of like Shrek 2. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about that more in a second as well. Yeah, Mad Pack says a honk for Rev. Let's go ahead and throw a honk up for Rev. God bless our brother. Hope he's doing well. Let's go. Hope you're well out there, brother. If you're listening to this, we miss you, man. Hope to hear from you soon. Come on back now. All right, guys. So basically, it's been a big week. This week started off with me totally crashing out. This is like right on par with my like projects discussion that I want to talk about. I crashed out really hard, and I'm not really ashamed to say it. I think I've had more than one kind of crashing out on this show. Maybe not where I like lost it, but I had like kind of where I kind of overreacted more than one time. I've said some stuff I shouldn't say, and that's part of the whole raw, real experience. Sometimes you're just a person and you just do and experience things, and I'm certainly not apologizing. I may have been apologizing at the time. I don't feel bad. I had a bad weekend, dude. I as you guys may have heard, I've spent a lot of effort working on some projects, and one of them, like my absolute dream car project, is like I'm so close to it. And I never wanted to just tell you guys, yo, I'm almost there. I wanted to just kind of like have it and be like, I win, you know. That was kind of like in my mind, oh, the many plans in man's heart, right? But anyway, it's been turning out to be way more trouble than I wanted it to be. Partially my fault, partially the circumstance. You know how it is. Could it have been avoided? Maybe, but if you don't take risks, you'll never chase your dreams. You'll never do anything in life. So you got to be willing to number one, take the risk. Number two, do the work. And number three, actually, that's not the correct order. Let's start with trust God. Let's make it 1, trust God, 2, take the risk, 3, do the work. That's how we move forward, okay? I don't want to get it confused, get it twisted. But that's the thing is I got a little upset. I've been feeling overwhelmed. My daily driver's like crapping out, the transmission's crapping out, and then the new car that I'm hoping to like transition to, I haven't quite gotten it fixed yet, and it was like leaking everywhere, and it's just and then they really want to stab you to register a new car in the state. Like, it's just what it is. You guys know. And I lost it, man. And it was like, I was so upset from like Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon through Sunday morning. And it was like Sunday service time. And I was just like, bro, I'm not going to show up. Like, it had been so close to the wire that I would have to have just like posted, yo, no service this week. Sorry, guys. Like, who does that? You could call in 5 minutes before your shift. Sorry, boss, I'm not going to be there. I've even, like, thought about, because you can give people your stream key, and, like, maybe if one of you guys, and I talked about with Rev, if somebody wants to be, like, my understudy for Sunday service, like, if somebody wants to be, like, a backup in case something happens, I can give you the stream key and you can stream it on my channel with your OBS or your platform or whatever. And I can change the stream key. You know, there's security measures to it, but I could let you, whoever you are, great servant to the Lord, I can let you run Sunday service if I have a problem. Like, if for some reason I can't do it, it would be really cool to have someone from the community who I can be like, yo, could you do it? And they could be like, yeah, and just throw down some solid gospel teachings. Let's go. So if you're interested in doing that and you're listening to this, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And if any of you have like maybe a suggestion around something like that, let me know. But yeah, I came anyway to Sunday service. I was not in the mood to do it. And it really ended up not being like a teaching at all. It wasn't like a Bible thing. It was like me just ranting about how hard it is to be a Christian sometimes. And Dr. says stream key sounds like a quick way for a strike or content rebranding. I don't know exactly what that means, but anyway, it's just, you know, you can let people access your stream. But anyway, it was what I needed to do was to show up anyway, and I had to get that stuff off my chest. And a lot of people's feedback was that, you know, they're going through a lot of the same stuff, feeling a lot of the same pressures, and it's a good reminder for us all to realize that we're all humans. I think sometimes we get this idea that we got to put on our Sunday best, and I think we should. I think we should try. We should always try to be our best self, but we should also remember that we're all people. There's something humbling about being totally just broke down, and it's like, you know, in actuality and circumstance, right? Like, you're broken down, you physically, your car's not working, and you're at the end of your wit, you know. I think Paul was saying today on his stream that he was upset, something's wrong with his car, oil exploding everywhere. I'm sure it's a nightmare, and I know how it is because having a bit of understanding about automotive, I know that in the United Kingdom they charge tax based on displacement of engine, which is like the size of engines, and so the bigger the engine is, the more tax cost it has. So there's a lot of cars that have these little tiny engines, and the best way to make a tiny engine powerful is turbocharging. So like turbo diesel and turbo petrol engines, and so they're all really small, like 1 liter, 2 liter. Usually 2 liters kind of big. We're talking like 1.1 liter and like 1.5 liter and stuff like that. That's as big as they get for the most part, like regular cars. Obviously they have larger vehicles, but like the little commuter cars all have really micro engines that you don't even see in the US. And what it ends up being is that those turbo tiny engines are working harder than like a large low compression engine. It's just science. And so they die. They have like seals and stuff that blow out and oil goes everywhere. And it's just like speaks to a bigger issue, which is all this like forced efficiency, or like it's not even efficiency, it's inefficiency, because cars that break early or have to run to these impossible standards, they're over-engineered, they're overpriced, they're there's more and more things that can break. And we're chasing our tail over emissions in the West and crippling ourselves economically when the rest of the world gives absolutely no shits about the environment. Like, that's just a fact. They do not punish themselves. China doesn't do it. India doesn't do it. They do not care about emissions. They drive whatever they want. And it's not necessarily like, a good thing that they're doing what they do. Like, people driving like black smoking trucks and stuff. It's not good for the environment, but the whole thing could be like approached differently, responsibly. And that's just a thing. But anyway, like, I think that in my mind, I would imagine that it has something to do with the fact that all these cars are, they're not built the way they used to be. And so, of course, everyone's cars are broken. Like, it's just what it is. Like, all day long on my YouTube feed is videos from, like, mechanics with broken cars everywhere. And mad bags. Never put a supercharger on a 1.2 liter. I'm down. I mean, at the end of the day, you can still make a lot of power and you can efficiently do it with small engines. It's just that when you put those things under load, you have them in traffic, you got high heat, all that stuff just wears on gaskets and seals and stuff, and it's just wear and tear. It's not like a carbureted 70s V8. Like, those were the days, man. You still see videos, a guy pulls a 50-year-old car out from a crappy barn and just a little bit of ether into the intake and it just fires right up. Like a battery and a fresh tank of gas and you're good to go, And that's not really how they are anymore. Nowadays, it's like, oh man, there's rats have eaten through the mass airflow sensor and everything's broken. The whole wiring harness needs to be replaced. Oh, $2,700 for the part. Yay. Figure out how to weave that thing through the body. Yeah. Anyway, it's crazy. We're all going through it, right? I mean, what I'm doing is I made the pursuit of I'm going to get the dream car, and my regular daily car is like old, but was supposed to be like old and trusty. And then it just started crapping out like it was a demonic strike on my life. And I was just like, man, I haven't got the new car ready. The old car's about to grenade on me. I'm totally at my wit's end. I spent all day working. I was all in the sun all day. I didn't really get anything to eat. It's just, you stretch yourself to the limit because you want to achieve great things. And then you find yourself actually like shortchanging yourself because you're blown out. You know what I'm saying? You get beat down because you work too hard and then you're not even getting anything done anymore. You begin to lose efficiency, right? You begin to be like, you suck. You know what I mean? And then emotionally, because you're tired, hungry, overheated, dehydrated, and whatever else, you start compounding symptoms and then you just snap. You know what I mean? And for me, it's usually not like I don't usually crash and burn, but totally did. So the start of this week started with a crash, but I have come back with a vengeance. And by that, I mean, I've just been feeling great the last few days. The focus on the projects, right? You got to have goals, small goals, attainable goals. And all week I've been working on this remodeling thing, and I think that that's what I'm getting at about the importance of projects, like having things that you're taking bites out of and working towards. That's kind of the message of the Burj Khalifa motivational show that I try to do when I can when I show up. It's to try and remind myself, and hopefully you guys too, that there are things that we're trying to accomplish, there's things we're working towards, and you have to be willing to, like we said, trust God, take risks, and do the work. And so that's what this is about. And there are projects that I'm working on. One is getting the dream car going. Two is to prepare an office space for myself to be able to take the channel to the next level. And by that, I really mean there aren't a lot of like regular videos. I do my regular show, but I could promote more. I could work more. I could be on TikTok. I could be on Instagram more. I could expand the channel. And maybe that's not the right thing to do. Maybe I am too controversial. I really don't think so. I think sometimes that the reason I even started doing the show is because I wanted to share my thoughts on things, and I didn't really expect anyone to care or listen, but it seems like over time we've actually found quite a few friends who see things in kind of the same way that I do, and I think that's awesome. And I think that I find that it's worth expanding that. Because whenever I make a connection with a new one of you people and we can see eye to eye on the stuff that really matters, like the kingdom and all that stuff, then we can have conversations about the little things, like whether you're into cars or whether you're into music or whatever it is that we talk about, you know, when we end up in conversations together or talking on the chat or whatever it is. You know, it's the stuff that people become friends over in regular walks of life, you know, what kind of things you like. And generally, that's the foundation of your whole friendship. And if things don't work out or whatever, you know, like all you ever had together was that you both like the same sports team, and that's hollow, you know. But we have this kind of actual unifying reality that even though we're all different, have different ideas of what's funny and what's cool, and like hopefully we're generally in the same area because we're hanging out, right? But at the same time, like, I get it that everybody's a different person, and we get that about each other. Like, we can be like, yeah, you do you, you be you, I'm not you, I'm not trying to run you. As long as we're going the same direction, you know, eyes fixed on Jesus, the author, perfecter of our faith, you know, that's the most important thing. And I think we all get that. That's what makes this community so important. Because, yeah, it's like, it's weird. It's like a weird cult with a guy called Con Man. Somebody was leaving a comment. It was like, as a member from the community, not necessarily our community here, but like Little Season community. And they were like, I don't understand how you think you're going to get the message out to people when you have a channel called The Cult and you call yourself Con Man. And I'm like, I'm not really here to try to get the message out. I mean, what's the message? Some guy's opinion? Like, okay. I mean, yeah, of course I think it's right. It's my opinion. But anyway, yeah, I think that is a project worth investing in. Creating more, like making shorts videos, making clips out of some of the funniest moments that happen on this show and other shows, and being able to like kind of proliferate that and hopefully connect with more people, grow the show, and maybe go farther with it than ever. I see this like party bus that I do for the intro that James Kershaw made for us. It's from Forza. You know, someone was asking in the comment section if it was AI. It's actually from a video game. Or it's not Forza, it's Gran Turismo 7. Which is crazy that you can, like, customize cars. Think about how much time he spent making that livery. There's a, I've got it paused here. Let me show you. It's like, it's double-sided. It's got the shows on it. It's got, like, it says Destination Kingdom on the side. I think it says it on the other side. Or on the back or something. But anyway, it's a video game livery. He must have spent a lot of time working on it. That's really super cool. And I look at that bus and I think about it and I'm like, man, you know, you don't pick your destiny. Like sometimes your destiny picks you. Like I've always been this guy that was like, you know, I used to have a van. We were in this rock band and we got this van and long since the van has been gone, but maybe it's time to get a party bus. Like maybe my immediate future goal should be to try to get a hold of a party bus, like get one car working, right? So I have something to drive. Then get and rebuild a party bus. And like it could be a series, right? Like you guys have seen, I've toyed with the idea of the Cult of Cars, and there's definitely about to be videos from that because there's about to be a ton of projects going on. And that'll be more of part of like the investment in the channel and the future of the shows and everything is sharing more of my regular life activity, because it seems like what happens is I balance between hanging out on the show with you guys and doing projects in my real life, like the things that I'm working on and building. And I know that that might not be for everybody. Some people might be here for Sunday service, or they might be here for main character, or the Guys Gotta Eat show, or even just a little word in the morning for Bulge Khalifa. But making videos is what I love to do, and it's something I've done since I was a little kid, and I feel like, you know, why not take it to the next level and actually start showing the process? Because I heard this one guy say, and he's like a pretty successful content creator, he said people like to see the people that they care about succeeding and failing and working and doing their projects, because it's like it shows to the people who have their own ideas and their own projects that you can chase these things, you can work your way around, you can overcome, you can persevere. It's true, and you can accomplish cool things with your life, and you love to see the people you care about winning. Like that's awesome. But beyond that, you can show people the reality of it, right? That it's not always about, you know, flashy lights or big budgets, but it's about real life and the real experience. And so like if I'm crashing out on Sunday, you know, I'm thinking to myself, man, I failed everybody. I'm supposed to be the positive dude, and I'm crashing and burning. I'm like questioning my faith. Not really, but you know what I mean. wondering why it's all so complicated, right? And I didn't realize at the time, but that's what people want to see. Not necessarily negative crashing and burning, but just that we're all in this together, that the fight for, the future, the purpose that we were all made for, that's out there, that we're like actually still trying to get there. And it's not about how long you've been here or whether you started yesterday or 20 years ago, but the fight remains, the battle remains. That's why the whole talk in the Bible about the whole armor of God, like we're at war, man. that's what it is. The war never stopped. I thought about it earlier. I was saying it in the car. Since the beginning of all this, there wasn't a human empire on earth in history that wasn't run by Satan up until Jesus Christ, right? Because Adam and Eve were running everything under God. Garden, everything's going good. And then they crapped out. They crashed out. I love that everyone just uses that word as if we didn't just figure it out. Anyway, so Adam and Eve crash out. They're out of the garden. They're thrown out. And then it's like darkness in the world. You've got like Babylonian, Nimrodic, like Nephilim king trying to build a tower to kill God. Like that doesn't sound very righteous to me. And these guys are out here building empire after empire, iteration after iteration, like Atlantis and all this. And they keep going and keep failing. And it's degenerate and terrible. And everyone dies in various types of cataclysms brought about by themselves or by the Lord or whatever, Egypt, etc. Everybody's living these wicked empires, and finally Jesus comes, right? And I know I'm like, we're not going to talk about Little Season, but I will say that, what's going on? Why are you deleting my messages, bro? Yo, dude, I don't know. Why are you deleting Cage Fighter's messages? What is this? I'm going to time you out, bro. Okay, hold on. Can I change your power level? Let me add as a standard one. Demotion. Look, unless it's like a direct attack or a profanity, dude, I can't have you like doing that, man. Like if they're not like directly attacking someone in the community, they're entitled to their opinion, man. Don't silence people's messages for that, dude. But anyway, I lost my train of thought there. Yeah. But yeah, I just, whatever it is. Oh no, you're good. All right. It's all good. All fun and games. But anyway, yeah, we're in a position in time where the system that we live in is the aftermath of something, right? Nobody denies the fact that there was this advanced history that we're not a part of anymore, whether it was Atlantis or whether it was, Tartaria or the millennial reign of Christ. There was clearly like a time where things changed, where it was like a satanic kingdom, and then at some point, Christ's righteous kingdom. And the only reason I say that is because I believe Jesus Christ kept his word. We've had this discussion before, and obviously he said his kingdom was coming soon and such. So, you don't want to be like caught off and thinking that Jesus doesn't know how to speak or that Jesus would tell a lie to the people he was speaking to and stuff. We're just not about that in this community. So evidently, it's the first time in history, Christ's kingdom is the first time in history where there was a righteous kingdom since the crashing out of Adam and Eve. So here we are now in what I would consider to be like the post-apocalypse of that. We're like kind of in the aftermath of that. And that puts us in a strange time in history where we have to like, I don't know, try to make sense of all this stuff. But I'm just mostly trying to have a good time. That's what it really comes down to for me. And like, if you try to talk about anything, it turns into a giant argument over like eschatology, over theology, whatever. And maybe there's a time and place for that. I'd probably argue with people over Little Season. I'd probably be willing to debate people, honestly, even though I don't really like, it's not because it's important to me. I'm not trying to convince people. I just think that it's quite evident that on the simple basis of the Bible itself, that's why it's true. The archaeology and stuff is just an add-on to that. But can you delete me from work tomorrow? Okay, unsubbing. Reason for being here is gone. I didn't take away your wrench, dog. I was just joking. You're good. Although I did change your permission from managing to regular because I never meant to make you a managing moderator. Not because I don't think you're great, but just because. I just don't know if giving people too much power is a bad thing. They say absolute power corrupts, absolutely, so. GB Packers 55, welcome in, my friend. Sandra Mars says, I was told to wait for Jesus regarding my house being a mess. Every time I try to do a fix, I get scammed. Sets me back every time. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Are you getting scammed by people? Marcus, I actually explained this a minute ago. The reason I don't have Chat XP is because you have to be a partner. You have to get approved for YouTube Partner Program, which usually I think they say it's like 1,000 subscribers and like, what was it? Like, maybe it was less than that. You guys remember? We were like tracking it early on where we were trying to get to 1,000 subs so we could get partner because we knew that if I became a partner, YouTube would be more inclined to promote my content because they're trying to make money. It's a whole thing, you know? But they will not monetize me. And we tried to figure it out. We're like, go back and listen to every episode of this and try to find out all the illegal stuff. And there are a couple of timestamps we found, not illegal, that might not be the right word, but according to their rules, like I've been too controversial and I've said and done things. I've even like had guns on the show before and stuff, and so people are like, that's too controversial. I was so unfiltered in the days before like Barack Obama was president. I was so freaking out of it. Like, not even out of it. That's not the right word. I was far out, bro. Like I was wild. And, you should reach out to the food places you review every week for some pay too. Yeah, you guys are getting 145 views on this. You should pay me. Maybe they would, like, maybe we can convince them, like, go in there and just smile real big, like, yeah, I forgot my wallet. No, that's dishonest. I wouldn't want to lie. Well, I could just be like, yeah, this guy, Kaladin Stormblessed, haha, free food. Yeah, that reminds me of free food. Yeah, that's about right. You don't want to run into the crabby Mr. Krabs at the crabby Krusty Krab. He will kill you with the nasty patty. Sorry, I couldn't get that out. That's definitely a generational thing, man. I grew up watching SpongeBob. I love that. That episode is so funny because it speaks to the whole idea that Mr. Krabs is so cheap that he thinks someone's trying to scam him. He ends up poisoning the real health inspector with an intentionally rotten Krabby Patty. Super crazy. At the Krabby Crust, the Krusty Krab. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Oh, you know, that one show that human children watched during the time of like 2003 to 2009 or whatever. I guess it's probably still a thing. What was the runtime on that? Like when was the SpongeBob show airing? 1999 till basically now. I think they had a little hiatus, but the show's back, so apparently. Marcus says, my son's obsessed with the episode Patrick gets a job at the Krusty Krab. You know, I don't know what episode that is, but I kind of stopped watching it at a certain point because I got too old. Because, like, you know, I was watching it as a little kid. It's not that I outgrew it. It's just there was a period where SpongeBob was, like, really funny and creative, like the first, like, 3 to 5 seasons. And then it kind of got really, like, for kids. And I'm not dogging on it. It's actually better for kids now, I think. It's kind of more silly. But yeah, the swearing episode's really good. I did think that was funny. Human children as opposed to what other. No, I was kind of making a joke as though I was like a non-human species, like that I'm an alien, and so I was like, oh, that's what human children watched during that era, because I called it the Krabby Crust or something like that. Pearl was dogging on me for it because I called it the wrong thing, and I was just like, I don't even know. Okay, let's just pretend I had a childhood and knew something about what human children were doing during that era. Oh, man, it's been something like, 20 years. I feel like I said, I think there was a hiatus where they didn't have episodes for a while. There was like a gap in the runtime of it. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I want to share with you guys kind of the central theme of tonight's thing so we can get it out of the way. It's funny, right? Sometimes I build up this whole thing where I add all this information, weave around for like an hour and a half, and then finally deliver the punchline, and it's something that's supposed to be like cool or prolific. And this is literally just a joke. Like the whole podcast is centered around like a not even that funny joke. And I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna share with you guys what we're talking about. So let's start with one. We'll start with just one good example here. So the Lord of the Rings. let's do the Lord of the Rings films, film trilogy. All right, like, okay, everybody knows that the Lord of the Rings is absolutely famous and epic. And don't worry, this is not an esoteric discussion at all. We're not even talking about anything. Okay, I want to start with this, okay? This is generally referred to as a trilogy. It's the Lord of the Rings, if you don't count the Hobbits and other like various, supporting films and obviously books and everything. But if we're talking about these from like the perspective of movies, right? You have the very first one. And it's like, what's the name of the first Lord of the Rings movie? The Fellowship of the Ring. Okay, cool. What's the name of the second one? The Two Towers. What's the name of the third one? Return of the King. Okay, and so these are all three. This is a critically acclaimed movie series. And honestly, like I think that this timeline-wise, that these are great movies. Honestly, like this is like cinema masterpiece. Classic. High fantasy, man. I mean, we're talking about Tolkien here. It's great. How about another one? How about we do Star Wars films? Star Wars films, this is a little bit tougher because, they've really, around the early 2000s, they butchered it and created all those, 99. Things got really weird. And that's when they started being like Star Wars Episode 1. Because as you guys know, the original Star Wars film, later subtitled A New Hope. So it was called Star Wars, okay? It was just called Star Wars. Okay, fine, Star Wars. Okay, but then it had a sequel, and the sequel was The Empire Strikes Back. Okay, it was called that. It wasn't called, it could have been called Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, but it wasn't like The Empire Strikes Back. And then obviously they had a third one, The Return of the Jedi. And they didn't start calling them, episode 1, 2, 3, it's an extra 4, 5, 6. They didn't start naming them numbers until they got to like Phantom Menace and started doing this. Episode 1, episode 2. Like they started doing that. That wasn't a thing. Okay, so aside from that, there are movies throughout history that have they've had it was like a standalone film. And like this, for instance, Russell Crowe's Gladiator, year 2000. Okay, this is a critically acclaimed movie as well. Like it's rated pretty high. Most people who aren't like biased or something, if you're trying to pick it apart, I'm sure you can find reasons why. Oh, that seemed kind of lame, but it was a high budget movie. It's got high fame actresses and actors. We got famous people: Joaquin Phoenix, Russell Crowe, Connie Nielsen, Richard Harris. We've got these people. Okay. This guy died, poor guy, rest in peace. Anyway, so this is a movie, some of you probably know where I'm going with this, but this is a movie that was a standalone film. It was pretty cool. It's really famous. Everybody's like, "Are you not entertained?" Like, the lines transcend the film. People have probably heard that line and don't even know that it's from this movie because it's a famous line from a famous movie. All right, cool. Apparently, and let's say, okay, Gladiator, we did this with Star Wars, right? Later, we gave it a subtitle, A New Hope, but we knew Star Wars, okay? But at no point, even after that, they're like, The Empire Strikes Back, The Two Towers. We have a name for the next iteration of the thing. And in the last couple of weeks, they just released, I guess it was what? I guess a couple of weeks, it's been a year now, time's flying. Okay, that's not the point. Within the last few months, like the end of last year, or like a year ago now, wow, what the heck? The point is, sometimes they don't even try. Gladiator 2. Like, it's not like we're not learning anything. This is not like the continuation. They try to act like it's continuing the story, but really, it's just piggybacking off of an already successful film. Look, we've got a significantly lower rating, 6.5, 70%, and I'll bet you it's actually just that people nowadays can't tell you why it's not a good movie. They would not, you could watch Critical Drinker, he could tell you why, but it's going to be none of the same thing at all. And they decided to just call it, what do you want to call the sequel for it? I don't know, Gladiator 2. That sounds good. Well, it's the next one. It's the second one, so Gladiator 2. And my brother and I have just laughed at this concept for the longest time. Anytime we see something with a sequel of it, it's just called 2. Like, it just adds the second one. I just always thought it's such a cop-out. There's like no creativity involved in calling it 2. It's just funny to me. And because of that, I decided to call tonight's episode Bible 2. And I'll just show you guys the thumbnail one more time here. Bible 2. Right on, okay? It's the sequel. It's the next thing that you would, it's Bible 2. Oh, okay, what? Wait a minute. Bible 2 though? Okay, so let me make it make sense. And like I said, it starts as a joke, but I will like explain how it's also not a joke. Bible 2 is like the idea that at some point the events of Bible 1, Revelation and everything, they're going to be either over, or you might end up stuck, not necessarily stuck, but existing within a time that took place within the Bible. So like, for instance, there were men who walked on the earth, men and women, obviously, who lived during the time of Jesus. You guys know what I'm talking about. And those people were just like me and you, people, and things were happening that are currently recorded in the Bible. And those of us that are kind of into this eschatological, theological, deep research stuff, and we want to know, what time are we living in history? What time in the Bible do we exist in? And we look at the history, at the timeline stuff, and a lot of us think we're probably during that time of Revelation 20, where after the kingdom Jesus said would come soon, that he told the truth and said he would come soon. He's not dumb. He knows how to talk and he knows what he means and he means what he says. So he did that whole thing regardless of history, and the liars, the same liars that say you evolved from pond scum and fly around on a space ball, they also say Jesus never had a kingdom here. I don't believe anything they say. Okay, moving forward, if it is possible that we're living in what the Bible has in some translations referred to as the short season or the little season, which is a period of time in which Satan is released after being imprisoned for 1,000 years, in which the saints and Christ are ruling over the earth in this utopian kingdom, etc. That whole thing is an estimate of where we are in biblical history, right? And so a lot of people in this community and others might say we may be living during the time of Revelation 20, during that aforementioned little season, short season, time of Satan's release. What do we call it? There's a nickname for it. People say KJV Unchained. I don't really know. I can't remember whose idea it was, but I always just laughed at that. I thought that was the best title. KJV Unchained. I think that was JT's idea. But anyway, during the time of Jesus Christ on earth and his disciples, we didn't know it, but those guys at the time were experiencing something that they wrote down, and it then became part of the Bible that we know now. Okay? Follow me on this. What if we are living through a time in biblical history just like they were, right? Look, they're not at the end of the Bible. They're at the start of the New Testament. Their story is not the beginning. It's not Genesis. And their story is not the end, Revelation. I mean, it could be. But you know what I'm saying, right? They're in the middle somewhere. We're in the middle somewhere. So their story, their experience was so valid, so vital, that it's become the canon of the gospel. It's become the story. They witnessed Jesus Christ. They saw him. They heard what he said. They recorded what he said. Okay, that is really, really important. And they were there and they recorded it. And that's how you get Bible 1. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is mostly a joke. But let's just say there's such a thing as Bible 2. Let's just say that what happens is you are a part of a time in history that has to be recorded for a future generation. Perhaps this little season goes on for a period of time, and then there's people living in after that time. Or maybe we're wrong about the timeline. Maybe we're still awaiting the arrival of Christ. Maybe there's some books to be written about that time for Christ to arrive before the little season thing, before Satan's released. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that everything is set in stone. I'm just saying that maybe Heck, we're on Bible 5. Sandra Moore is so funny. All I'm saying is no nose goes for who has to be the next bad guy of the next story. I think that nose goes or whatever. Okay, here's the issue with that being that the nose is the item that we're using to determine who the next bad guy is. I feel like that might be a little bit 1940s Germany of you to say that. Actually, I think isn't that the bad guy of the last story? Not the next one. Dang it! Is it like it's a recurring it's a recurring problem throughout history apparently. It's funny. Okay, so Bible 2 is just kind of a joke, but I think sometimes about it, like, what if we're living in this time and we're gonna see some wild things? Like, we are, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we're recording it right now. And I don't just mean like me sitting here on a podcast, but you guys in the stories that you're experiencing. You know, you may be journaling it every day, or you may just be witness to something that you see times and seasons. You guys remember 2020? That was crazy. There'll come a time in history where people will write books about it. If we continue forward in the direction we're going as humanity, people will write books about like the 2020. And I know people already have, but I'm talking about books later where they actually let you say what really happened. You know what I mean? Because modern day, it's just so fake. You know, I heard somebody say that they changed the terms and there's certain things you can say now, like the V word and stuff. You couldn't say it before or else you'd get scrutinized and it would give you one of those dumb bubbles at the bottom of the screen. They had that, I guess. Somebody said, no, they've changed. Now you can get away with saying, of course, that's bait. I'm not going to say anything. But which sucks, too, because you don't want to get nuked. You want to just be able to say what you're trying to say. Speak easy. Let's go. Yeah, let me come up with the plans and put together Speakeasy. And that's also kind of like in line with what I was talking about with projects. I gotta get my office going so I can start getting business done, because then I can actually start progressing the Speakeasy plan, some of my multimedia adventures, like my albums, my music, as well as like I'm trying to make video games and movies and stuff. I'm a creative person. I want to share my ideas. I feel like if an idea can exist of something that seems cool, there's got to be a way to get it from like that idea to a real thing so that people can enjoy it and appreciate it, and the world can continue doing what it does. You know, we can maybe move forward in a different direction, a better direction. I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is, guys, I think we're living through Bible 2 right now. And it's like every day, right? It talks about in, what passage is it? They will become lovers of themselves, right? I probably could type that and it would give me, they will become lovers of themselves. I guess they will be, for men will be lovers of themselves. Let's do it. It's 2 Timothy chapter 3. Oh, here's a KJV. I actually really do like the NKJV. I know. We don't want to get this wrong here. This is the King James Version Unchained. That's our community. Not Little Season, KJV Unchained. Okay. And that's not really what it is, but whatever. Okay. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sin, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of truth, and so on and so forth. Okay, 2 Timothy chapter 3. The point being is that it's been talked about that in the last days perilous times will come. Now, what is the last days? I mean, that can refer to a lot of things, and this is not like a biblical breakdown. I mean, it is Bible too, but what I mean is there's going to come a point where one chapter ends and it starts the next, right? That's how the Old Testament became the New Testament. There was a period of time where the history became the present. And we've been living through what has been history. History is one of the most debated things. A set of lies agreed upon, right? And here we are living through what has to be some of the most pivotal stuff in the last 150, 250 years, right? As long as anyone can actively remember, stuff like 2020 had not happened yet. And I think that any other time in history, there would have been like war over it and stuff. People would have just like immediately been like, no, tyrants, and like freaked out. I mean, according to the story, they freaked out over a tea tax that was like minuscule. Well, now they're like, oh, well, you had to come up with $1,000 to register your own car. Why? Well, $250 in fees because you didn't do it when we said to. It's like, what kind of tyranny? I found out recently you have to get these new enhanced driver's licenses if you want to fly around the country, right? Travel. That's your right. You're entitled to it in the United States. Nope, not without a special pass. A special pass that in my state costs like $200. Imagine that. You have to come up with $116 for the card, and you have to pay a fee depending on how many years are left until your card expires, because they want to punish you if you renewed your regular driver's license. So like my regular driver's license came up for renewal. It was due for renewal right before the switch to the new EDLs, and I renewed it for $80, mind you. My goodness, $80. All right, look at that. That's crazy, man. $80, and I renewed the thing, and then right after I did that, I get sent the thing saying, get an EDL or whatever, and it's like the fee is for however many years are left in your thing. So like, let's say it was almost about to expire, you wouldn't have to pay any fee. They charge you for how much ahead of things you are. Oh, you're doing the right thing. You renewed your license. Punishment. And so it's something like $200 if I want to get it because I just renewed my license. So I cannot fly anywhere in the United States until I either pay the evil tax man. Anyway, people used to go to war over such things apparently. And now we live in times like these where, you know, if you're watching the news, like LA is like under attack and it's a riot over people who are like not like citizens. And then they're fighting over, because they're like, I hold the flag of the country I don't want to be in as I attack a country that I am in that I want to be in with a different flag. You know what I mean? It's not about the principle of Mexico or United States. Countries on earth, countries of men, stupid. Okay, but they're not approaching it from that angle. No one approaches it from saying the governments of man are illegitimate. We shouldn't have national identities. There should only be a Christo-fascistic one world government in which Jesus rules the world. There's nobody saying that but me and maybe some other people. But the point is that everybody's like just so dumb in that regard, right? That they're like, I'm gonna fight for. I know it's a psyop, right? It's that's why it's so dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Normal people like need to pay bills. They need to eat food. They don't have time to go wrestle around with cops, get shot with pepper spray, rubber bullets, whatever. And again, I'm not trying to be like all on current events. I mean, I guess I can, right? That's what's going on right now, current events. But I don't know. It's like LA rioting, and then of course that's not anything new, but the point being is that we're living through crazy times in history, whether it's like war in Ukraine or what's going on in the southeast corner of the Mediterranean and everything going on there. Maybe you choose your choice words about the countries and areas over there, but And just the way things are in the United States, man, I know that a lot of you guys are older than me, and I actually appreciate that. But you guys even remember better than I do, like gas being like $1 and stuff. $1.50, dude. I remember stuff like that. I remember it was being way less than $2. I remember as a kid, less than $2. And I went down to the gas station today, and it's like, you know, I didn't want to put a bunch of gas in the white car because the transmission's going to go any minute. So I'm like, I got to like just enough to get to work Friday, tomorrow or whatever. You know, like, I got to get to the store and work. Okay, let's just put in a little bit because I don't want a car to die with a full tank of gas. That's a bummer, bro. So I'm thinking about that, but I'm looking at the premium because, you know, the dream car takes premium only. It's one of those. And it's like $4.69 or whatever. It's just like, what? Why are we standing for this? Why is like the average American just like, oh, well, you know, it's like $80 to fill a tiny Prius or whatever. Not that I'm driving a Prius, but like, you know what I mean? Like you like got the most minuscule car with a tiny gas tank, $80 to get to work. It's like, guys, I'm not trying to be cheap. I just think it's crazy how much we've been swindled. It's like if there was ever a time in which a demon or a monster would go forth to deceive the nations to an ultimate end, it wouldn't just start with everyone was fine and then they were all of a sudden on board for the dumbest thing you've ever seen. That's not how it works. How do you think they got all those Branch Covidians or whatever to do all that shit? Because they were like, dude, the thing is, they were already groomed. I remember back in like 2014, they were like showing all these documentaries of like mothers who deprived their children of medical care. And they like tried to be like these people who use their religion as if it has anything, a leg to stand on compared to science. You know, and they're all like, and like, look at how stupid these people are killing their own children. It's child abuse. We should force parents who don't give their kids medical service. We should force them to enter the child protective services. You know what I mean? Like, Daddy Skip says, I saw gas for $2.52 in Tennessee. My goodness. Well, see, so then that speaks to another issue, right? My state thinks it's okay to charge 3 times as much on gas because they can tax you to death for it. They can make it unattainable. You know? They can make it so that poor people can't get a leg up. That's what it really comes down to, right? It's not about controlling the already controlled groups. Upper and middle class, no offense to anybody, but upper and middle class people much more easily fall into the distractions of the day because they have resources to be distracted with. Poor people are like scratching at these seams, like trying to make it. And so their ears to the ground on when gas goes up by $2. Like if you're pretty well off, gas being $4 is like, yeah, it sucks. But you're already paying $1,400 a month for a giant lifted truck. Like it's like, well, what's a couple $100 more? Because if you're in a bigger income bracket, it's not that bad. But the problem is like this is how they keep us in trouble because they target areas and groups and demographics and cultures. And so that little group is the only one being devastated, so the rest of the people don't feel the pain and they don't really care, and it's just a reality, right? In the sense of like the poor people, right? I'm not that poor. I have a job, I work, and I have great supporters. I have to say, thank you for the support. I recently had somebody come through and offer me some grand support, really, not a grand, but you know what I mean? Somebody gave me like some money and helped me out a lot, and it was really awesome. And all I'm getting at is just like, I'm not actually like that poor. I'm certainly not wealthy, but I understand what it's like to like have $0. Like I've been there many times, and by my own choice, a lot of it, my own laziness, right? Wouldn't trust God, wouldn't take risks, wouldn't do the work. Those are the elements of getting anything done and going anywhere in life. Trust God, you know, so on and so forth. The point being is that I know what it's like to be super poor, really poor. And I'm not, like I'm saying, I'm not poor, just, and I get it. But what happens is they do that. They target the poor people. So for instance, you buy a car in the state of Washington. Again, this is Washington. It's different everywhere. Some people have it better in their state, which is why, right? So in the other states, it's better. They don't worry about what happens here. And this place gets more and more tyrannical. Look at California. It's a complete hellhole because for however long, it's been getting ignored by all the other states who are like, well, at least I got my gun rights. And then California is sinking, and everyone's like, that's what you voted for. Imagine being programmed to blame the victim as the perpetrator ruins their life. There's like horrible, evil, Talmudic authorities running California into the ground, and people literally blame the voters as if votes mean anything. You know what I mean? Like, well, y'all should have voted for. I was down here when we had Joe Kent in our ultimately red plus 40 or whatever district, and Joe Kent ran for Congress here, and they replaced him with some annoying one-term chick called Marie Glusenkamp Perez. I'm sure that Glusenkamp is probably short for Glusen Goldman Heimberg Campman. 1939 camp or whatever. And so the point is that they just run the whole thing. It's not who you vote for, it's who they select to put in charge of you. Which shine bomb is it going to be this time? And the point is that that's what they do. And so it's not who you vote for. And that's the most arrogant and annoying thing in the world for people to be like, well, you guys get what you get. No, they'll pick us off one at a time at this rate. California will sink, Washington will sink. They'll destroy the West Coast, right? Then what? The rest of the country is going to be on the hook for it. It's like all this money going to Ukraine. What do you think? Who's going to bail out California? The rest of y'all in Tennessee paying $1.50 for gas. Well, how are we going to pay that? We got to leverage to pay it. We got to bail out a gas tax, new gas tax. Yeah, just watch. That's how it always works. So, and this is the problem, right? Because we're all divided because we don't have a unified platform. We don't have a unified narrative. We don't have a unified church. We don't have a unified anything. And that's how they're able to get us. Pick us off one by one, right? Anyway, I actually heard somebody say once that California, state of California, represented 1/7 of the world's economy. So just one state in the United States is number 7. Did I say 1/7? I don't think that's the right fraction. The point is they were this number 7 largest economy in the world, which is crazy. There's like whole giant countries underneath California. So we're talking about money, man, big money. Like somebody like Newsom and all these people are crooks. Every single one of them, dude. And it doesn't matter red versus blue. They're all bad. Like it was a time a couple years ago where the governor of Florida was trafficking illegal immigrants into the interior of the country to stick it to the libs. Like it was like he was performing human trafficking. He's an aider and abettor of foreign invasion. He's a traitor. Who's that guy? What's his name over there in Florida? That Bush boy. What's his name? I can't remember his name. He escapes me. But you guys know they had a period of time where they were like everyone was really into him, and he did something. He got caught, and he kind of went into obscurity. But anyway, yeah, Florida governor was literally like they were bragging on the internet. All the retardicans were on the internet blabbing about how, yeah, that's right, send them to the liberal cities, make them cry. It's like, dude, they're trafficking illegals into the country. What the hell? And it's just the way it goes. Like they're always doing that kind of crap, and we're missing it because we're caught up in our own struggles, right? That's why. But anyway, the poorest class of people in my state. Let's say you were a bus riding, living in a absolute on the lam. You've barely been making it with your Walmart job, and you've been applying, and one day you get an opportunity somewhere, and it's like, let's say you've been making like what is considered a high wage, but not in this state. But like, let's say you were making like $15 an hour at Walmart, and you were doing that, chugging along, scrubbing along, which it seems like a lot of money, especially in some place. Oh yeah, DeSantis, good call, Denise. But anyway, you think you're doing all right, 15 an hour, but the rent's $1,700 for a 1-bedroom apartment or whatever. So you're like barely surviving. And let's say you get the job, right? You get the job that's now it's 35, dude. Like you're making almost 3 times. Like 2.5 times your wage, dude. Huge increase in wage. And like somebody will get that leg up, and it'll be like, well, the only way I can get this job is I gotta get a vehicle so I can get over there or whatever. Like I gotta get arranged for reliable transport really quick. And there's probably so many times where people could not get a car because the cost of getting it was impossible. Like the cost to acquire it, whatever parts it needs, whatever tires, gas, insurance, everything. And then you have to go to the thing and register it. And let's just say, well, I'll wait 2 weeks till I get my next check and then I'll have enough to register it. Wrong. Because if every day past 15 days, like you buy a car, every day past 15 days, it's $7 of a fine, up to like, I think $250. And so what they'll do is if you don't already have the money, they'll punish you by making you come up with more money. It's like a goal it's running away from you. And as fast as you run, it runs just a little bit faster than you, and you can never catch it. And they do that to keep poor people poor. Because poor people know how the system works. And if poor people become wealthy, they'll do something about it. As soon as poor people get access to resources, they try to fix things and make the world a better place because they know how crappy it is. Now, that's not a universal statement. Some people are stupid. They win the lottery, blow it all on hookers and cocaine, and then end up like broke again or dead at the bottom of some lake or whatever. I'm just saying that it's a known thing that it's what do they say? The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's like one of the like old-timey things to say about the degeneration of the West. That was back in the day when it wasn't like going at the rate that it's going right now. Because look, it's not to say that the opportunity is absent. The United States is still a place where you can make a life for yourself and you can do things. But it's a very dark time in history. It's a very difficult time in history. And Treble Down says, In 2000, it cost $22 to fill my car. Now, is that the current cost, $22? Because that's actually pretty cheap. But I mean, that's obviously, you're in Australia, so who knows, that the rules could be totally different over there. I have no idea how it would be subsidized, or what we do with our gasoline in the United States that makes it so much more money. And again, it's obviously not the same everywhere, because we got some folks saying they saw it for like $2 or $2.50 or something. But I'm looking at, like, again, for premium, but almost $5 a gallon at like the Safeway. That's not even the Chevron. Like, for that car, I would want to get like V-Power or Chevron. You want to put clean, good gas in there. You get the best gas you can, right? Maybe the Safeway is the same. But the point is, it's like almost $5. I have like a regular Camry, like a 2000 Camry, and if it's empty, it's like over $80 to fill the tank. I think I spent $80 to fill the gas tank on that car one time. It's like a big tank, it's like 18 and a half gallons. I guess do the math. 18, probably not the 0.5. You run it down to that, like, or it's like fumes. 18 gallons times $5. That's crazy, dude. That's almost $100. What? Oh my gosh. And it's supposed to be a deal, right? Like driving a mom car. And that was the decision, right? The decision was, you know what? Mom car or a cool car? At this point, it doesn't even matter. Like, it's so much money that you're just gonna have to spend an arm and a leg, at least drive something cool. You know? Yeah, it's just the prices out here, man. It's wild. We're living through the strangest times. But this is what I'm getting at, right? There were times where they wrote about, like, oh, the Romans, and the Romans would flog anyone unless you had the passport, the Roman passport. And, like, we look at stuff like that in history, like, they were flogging people. They're barbaric. And it's like, the government flogs us with taxes all day. I'd rather take the whip and have my paycheck. I mean, I say that like I'm being facetious, but what I'm getting at is that this whole situation we're in, the state of the world, the wars, the degeneration and everything taking place, that is biblical type stuff. And if there is a population in history that could resemble lovers of themselves, covetous boasters, proud blasphemers, disobedient, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, meaning gay. That's what that means. There'll be a bunch of gay guys. That's what that means. So it's like, that literally is like the world we're living in now. So write it down, dude. I think it's important that we, like, keep the record. Like, don't glorify in it. I know there's some people who, like, you know, like Decoy Voice. All he does is talk about daily events and, like, look at how shitty this is. And they just keep, like, showing it to you. Look how bad it is. And it's like, I'm not, like, about that. I'll bring it up for conversation, but, like, man, we don't need to live in that. Because I think that what we put out makes a difference. I'm really starting to believe it. You know, those guys on the Haunted Cosmos podcast, they say, it's not just stuff. And I think that's, like, the best way to put it. The world and everything in it is not just stuff. It's not just happening. There's energy and frequency and vibration. There's a story behind the stuff that happens and why. So I don't know if you guys know this, but let me show you guys a little something real quick. The what was his name? Is it Robert Johnson? Yeah, this guy. This guy's supposed to be. He's got a Crossroads song too. I'd play it, but we live in this degenerated society where a robot picks up on a song, copyright slaps your channel, and then you're muted or whatever. But anyway, and that's something to think about too. Like, some of these other streaming platforms, like, you go like Kick. I think you could just play stuff. There's no like, oh, copyright, they're now monetizing your video. It's like, I'm not even monetizing. Other people are getting, if there's an ad, if you ever see an ad on my video, other people are being paid. I don't get paid for that. It's like, it's going to the guy or to YouTube, I guess. I don't know. Sorry if you have to sit through ads. I can't imagine how annoying that would be. If it was up to me, there would not be ads. All right, so Robert Johnson, the long story short is his origin story. I don't know if they're going to tell us about it. But basically, he wrote about it in the song, and long story short, he basically found Satan at the crossroads, or the devil at the crossroads, and he sells his soul for rock and roll, becoming a famous blues musician, and basically like being one of the founders of the entire like blues universe, and basically getting credit for inspiring some of the great blues musicians who'd come to follow him in like the 50s and 60s and stuff. And the long story short of it is, right, he meets the devil at the crossroads, he sells his soul, he makes the exchange, then there's a transformation, right? He goes from being this talentless fool to being like alchemically transformed. And there's importance to this whole crossroads. In fact, there's a Crow 777 radio episode about Mercury. And it's the episode is called Duck and Cover No More, and it's one of the greatest podcasts ever made, if you ask me. Like, and I'm not like fanboying. The delivery of that whole like situation about nukes and Mercury and alchemy and the transforming of the world through the transformation of the mind, all of that is real, totally real, and it's how we're manipulated every day. And anyway, Robert Johnson represents this change that comes. It's not that necessarily he really is possessed or gifted through a satanic ritual, you know, and maybe he did do that. I don't know, okay? But the long story short of it is just that this is not about the ritual itself. It's about the process. It's about how something goes from one thing to another thing and what energy there is in that process. It's not an accident. It was done with intent. So we need to be people who do things with intent. And I try my best to do it. It's not like I'm perfect and I'm not here trying to like lecture you guys. I'm just saying that there has to be purpose for why we do what we do, because the intention adds to it like a layer. And then what we do matters too, right? We'll be judged for every idle word, every little thing that we do. We're gonna be looked at for every choice we made, every side that we took, and there's a serious implication there, and I think that we can put out in the world energy that makes the world a better place. Like, we don't have to be like negative all the time. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have a bad day, you're gonna have a bad day, and really you're gonna devote yourself to projects, and the projects are gonna fail. You're gonna be like, I worked so hard on this and it just broke. Or you work all week on something and it's not good enough. Oh, tear it out, man. You're not even getting paid. That happens. That's the battle that we're in. It's like how I said in the beginning, we're in an age-old war. That's why the whole theme of the armor of God, that's the whole reason why this whole thing is so important, because we've got stuff we're here to do. You're not set to wear the armor of God because you're just here to hang out. It's because you're in the fight. And the sooner you realize you're in the fight, the better, and that's really what it is. Like, if you let your guard down like me on Sunday or Saturday night, you put all your hope in things working out as opposed to just making it another day, daily bread. And then you fall victim to that kind of stuff. And that's how they shape the world, is through the alchemy of stories and movies and stuff like that. We've talked about that at length. So it's like, if you wanted to deceive the nations to go forth and attack some camp of the saints or whatever it is, it would take a public that was changed, from the people they used to be to the people they are, and so on and so forth. And, it's like any aspect of life. Things are just not the way they used to be. And I'm not the old guy who's like trying to be like, oh, back in my day, But I will say that, man, things were simpler. They were better. Back in the early 1900s, people they used to appreciate a conversation with each other. They used to want to hear the stories of people's lives and things they're going through, and have a real heart-to-heart, human-to-human contact. And now we kind of live in this weird digitized artificial reality where everything's fake. You can't even know what's real anymore. You got AI-powered everything, and we talked about this before. Like, God only knows what's real and what's fake, with all this AI getting to the level it is, and that's what's commercially available, right? Like, you never know, what all was AI in the past that we thought was real. I'm like, well, we saw it with our own eyes. It had to be real, but we saw what they wanted us to see. And I think that's the importance of it. Like, the realization of the level of the deception is worth noting. We're living through a time where events are of biblical proportions. The things that took place in the 2020 thing. What happened to the Chinese population? The onset of AI. There was no AI like 20 years ago, dude. When we were watching like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2002, there was no AI. At least not that we knew of. I didn't even have a cell phone until I was like 16. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Some of you guys didn't have a cell phone until you're like a grown adult, right? So it's crazy how quick it's speeding up. And I think that's something that should be noted. If there was an era where things were going to go crazy, it would look like this. So again, it's a joke, an ongoing joke. But let's just say you might be a member, a person who lives during Bible 2. So think about it like that. You know, you don't want to be Judas, you know? You don't want to be the guy that, like, you know, goes and screws everything up at the last second. Judas was, like, right there. Like, if he hadn't betrayed the Lord, I mean, obviously, hindsight's 2020 or whatever. What's up, JT? Welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. We also got some others in here. Phil, what's up, Phil? Good to see you. JT says, didn't have a cell phone until I was 21, and it took 5 minutes to send a text. I remember those. I was probably close to that same era where it was the T9. Like, it's like, hi. You spent like 30 seconds typing out hi. And I always remember everybody found the shortest way to say things, like letter U for you, and like all the little abbreviation TTYL and all that stuff. Crazy. It's crazy how much time has changed. And it's interesting to imagine what we might witness in our time. Like, unless something happens to us, like most of us, you know, we probably got quite a few years left. I'd like to hope so anyway, unless, you know, the Lord says it's time, in which case getting to the kingdom probably better than hanging out here anyway. You know, if any of you go early, you know, God bless you. You lucky dog. It's just, yeah, if anything crazy is going to happen in our lives, we'll be here to see it, right? And I think we will see more crazy things as it goes. And I think we should record it. I think we should have a testimony, like a witness to all this stuff, to see, you know, is everything that we're saying, is everything that we're witnessing here worth recording? Is there going to come a time in the future where they're going to look back on this era and want to know, what did people really experience then? What did people really think about what was going on? And not the scrubbed internet version. Like, you guys know the internet is dead theory, right? Like, you look on the internet and it tells you stuff that's not only not real, but like false. There's no information for it. Like, I was trying to find a transmission for my car and I was looking it up and the internet was just offering me, no, I don't like what you're looking for. There is no information. Because, you know, maybe you got to find the name of the transmission, or whatever it's 5C, whatever, 3220 or whatever its number is. And then you look for that, and then it's like, okay, technical data. But as far as like, just like, I'm trying to find a transmission for a year 2000 Toyota Camry so I can do a trans swap in the driveway. I'm trying to throw in a new trans in the driveway on jack stands. It's like, Google is not helping you with that. And I think that's part of the thing. Doctor Who says temptation is strong for timeout shutout. So who needs to be timed out? What's going on? The future will be live streamed. It's totally accurate, man. Yeah. Val says use Rock Auto to get numbers. Oh, that's a good idea, right? Like, go in there, get the parts. It'll tell you the part number, hunt for the part number. I've been trying to use Facebook Marketplace because I really just want someone who's either got a parting out car or, you know, I saw a guy like a couple towns over who had one and he got it, I guess, from a scrapper, but he never put it in. There's always a backstory. There's a risk involved. You might buy another broken transmission and then spend 2-3 days forcing it into the car only for it just not to work either. I'm willing to believe that is possible. What's up, James H? Welcome in, my friend. Working on a tranny used to mean something different back in the day. I'll tell you, my brother and I looked this up one time. Maybe, let me see if I can get it to pull up. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, so I am currently browsing on Google searching for an automotive repair shop called Tranny Man. Now, I'm not talking about this person or that one or this. This is what I'm looking for. This right here. 4230 Monterey Highway, San Jose, California. An automotive repair shop called Tranny Man. The Tranny Man. That's awesome. I think that I need to visit the Tranny Man because I need help. I looked this up a while ago and I laughed really hard. Okay, it was good. It made me laugh. I think that whoever opened that automotive and transmission shop probably was the joke probably hit better in the early 2000s. It seems like he's no longer in business, probably because of the context of that. Don't save that to your contacts. 2 stars on the reviews. Back in the day, having a party with 2 hookers at a tranny meant you're taking out the headers and the transmission to pull out the motor. Yeah. That's one thing I can appreciate. Since this is a slightly automotive associated YouTube channel, not really, but kind of, because I talk about cars a lot. It allows you to snake in, because generally, like, and it's true, like, when I'm talking about a tranny, I'm talking about automotive. Like, that's the truth, especially since mine is blown out. My tranny ain't working the way it used to. That's for sure. It's shuddering. That's the official terminology that we would use. We would call it shuddering. It's where it goes. It's probably comical to other people, but for me, it's like life and death at a moment's notice. It's not actually dangerous because it only happens when you're stopped and trying to go. But once you get going, everything's good. But you know, it's just, you wonder if Val's like the torque converter. I know. I've been thinking about it myself. But I don't know where to get one, and I don't want to have to take it all apart. Honestly, it runs really good otherwise. Like, it shifts through all the gears very smoothly, right? But it just won't. It's from, if you're stopped at a stoplight, it shudders. Like, it'll sit there, it'll be chilling, and then it'll be like, boom, like it acts like it's trying to go into gear. And I know that when they fail completely, they'll like lock up, right? And the car will die. So I know I'm worried about that day coming, right? Where it's going to be like, I try to give it gas, it either just goes, and like it's not connecting at all, or it won't disconnect, right? And it stays on, and I come to a stop and the engine goes, and dies, right? So I'm just limping it to work and back, and like praying and hoping to get a transmission and then maybe do a front yard trans swap. It can be done. And that's another one of my projects, actually. The tranny's saying, I'm literally shaking. Val says, dump the fluid and filter first. Try that instead of changing the whole thing. I drained the fluid out and filled it up like a few months ago, and it didn't do anything. But maybe the filter is like plugged. The problem is the miles are so low on the car. It only has like 99,000 on it, and it's 25 years old. So I think it like just got city miled for like 75, 80,000 miles by the original owner. I've had it for like 5 years now, and it never really did it before, but it kind of started to do it and came on fast, and like that was it. Now it's like within the last couple weeks, it's just been getting worse and worse. So Val says if the clutches were burnt out, it would be slipping. Yeah, it kind of feels like it's definitely torque converter related, but who knows? We'll have to chat about it sometime, man, because I don't know. Because I was like, oh, dang, that's what that means? I think my tranny's going out too then. Yeah, tis the season for everyone's car to blow up. Paul's car is blowing up. My car is crapping out. Crystal's transmission's blowing out. Everybody's tranny is failing. They're not doing it. Yeah, see, Val's right. If the filter's plugged, the pump can't move fluid through it. I've had that thought that the filter could just be gunked up, and that's why it works intermittently, because it's kind of like it can sometimes flow, but maybe there's some gunk in there. It's probably never had its filter changed. I think that was kind of my next last ditch thing, was to try and do a filter before I do a trans. But I've been looking for a transmission just in case. So good advice, Val. I'll try that out. I'll look into it and see if I can maybe do that. The filter's cheap, and the fluid's not that much money, and I could do that in the driveway for sure. So everybody wishes they had a stick shift when their auto tranny blows out. The auto tranny. Yo, what's up, Dojo? I didn't see you there. I don't know. I maybe you said something earlier, but it's good to see you, my friend. It's good to have you here. Yeah, this is like the gang. This is like the original party bus. I'm seeing like everybody here. It's great, dude. Let me nail this one for you. One of these classics. Yeah. The party bus is full of awesome people tonight. And that's one thing that I gotta remember, is that we're here on Wednesday night just to chill. Like that's my main thing. Sometimes I get all like, and get all like a little bit too heated. Your state government will probably give you a grant for tranny conversion. Oh, that's a good idea. I should write to them and say that I'm trying to I'm trying to. I need a tranny conversion. I need a swap. I don't know. Doctor Who, the cult seems to be taking a turn this episode. I think I missed the nuance. It's just I think it's just that we're dealing with automotive problems collectively. Like Paul's car is broken, my car is broken, Crystal's car is broken. Everybody's cars are broken for some reason. Samantha Fox, the race is over early for us. The racer broke down. Pop has to figure out the problem. He has to see what the heck. It's just that time of the year. They're putting something in the air. Someone cut my cat converters out. We don't have emissions here anymore, though. Oh, that's rough, dude. They do that a lot over here in the Portland area. My buddy, he goes by Half-Truths here. You'll probably see him in chat sometimes. Samantha Fox's fiance. And he's my good buddy. And where was I going with this? I do like that guy. His car got hit by somebody who was like pulling out with a trailer, and they clipped the fender, and it was like the car was not drivable. And he left it overnight on the interstate there because it's just what happened, couldn't get a tow truck. And the next day we came, and they had somebody cut the cat right off of it, And I'll tell you, it's crazy. Technically in Washington State, you could, in theory, you don't have to do emissions here either. So like we could have like straight piped it, I guess. But we just weren't in the position to do that. I think they ended up letting the car go. Oh, it was such a pain in the ass. I'll tell you, we got there, and there were like tweakers disassembling the car right there in front of us. Like, it was, yeah. Samantha was like, someone was trying to take the battery. Yeah. And we got there, and there's a freaking, like a meth head trying to figure out how to get the battery out of the car. And Ryan was like, yo, that's my car. Knock that off. And it's like, when he looked at us, like he didn't even speak the same language. It wasn't that he didn't. He was just so high. He was trying to figure out how to. That's what he said, right? Yeah. I'm just trying to help out. Oh, yeah. Help who out? Man, that should have been recorded. That's like the kind of story that's like, it's the iconic story. Like you come back and then the car wouldn't run because the exhaust pipe had been cut off, and it knew, like the sensors quickly realized, yo, this ain't right. And so it started like check engine light, and then it was like running really rough, and it broke down, and it was like, all right, Ryan, put the car in neutral. The car was put in neutral, and I drove it. When he turned it on, it sounded like a truck. Like you guys who have ever heard like, no exhaust cars, it's like, brrr, it's loud, bro. And anyway, we got it up to, Sammy's telling the whole story. Got into the Shell station, and it died and wouldn't go anymore. And I think we decided to call it there. But there was a period of time where I was pushing the car with my car. Like his car was in neutral, and I was behind him pushing his car with my car. Because it was just like, what do you do, man? When you're stranded and you're broke down and you don't have any money, you go. That's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Crypto Grady says, Connor, you're a machine. You're still alive. Well, we usually try to do 2 hours for the main character podcast. I got a lot to say. Last week we got short, but it was because I misread the time. I thought it was later than it was because there was a timer going over here that wasn't correct. It had started early. And so it said that I was farther in than I was. And so I thought that I was like that it was about 2 hours. And I was like, well, we're just about out of time, y'all. I'm about to take it easy now. I got to go get something to eat. And then it was like, no, it's not. It was like I left like half an hour before I was supposed to. So I try not to do that. Try not to bail early. Because it's my hangout, bro. Like, at the end of the day, I like hanging out with you guys. This is, like, why I do this. My Wednesday night show is, like, this is for me. Like, I'm chilling after work, after a long day. I've thought about, like, having White Claws or something. But, you know, it's just like, I don't need it. I found that, like, even, I have a couple beers after work every once in a while, maybe, but I was just like a headache from beer. Like, alcohol, nah, not really my friend. Maybe, like, on a barbecue in the afternoon. I got to be well-fed and hydrated and chilling. So, but other than that, to each their own. But still, I really like kicking it after work. The whole hump day thing, man, like, it really means something because you make it through Wednesday and you really are, you're over halfway. Because there's only 5 days. So that's 60% through. And to me, it's like you can almost celebrate because Thursday, it's kind of just another day. It's just another wash. And then you're on Friday. You're already there. And really, I brought this up before. Some people who like live in the United Kingdom or like maybe even like Australia as well, they're living in the future right now. It's only Wednesday for me. And they're watching this and it's Thursday. That's crazy to me. You live in the future. So like they're even closer to Friday. So let's go. Oh, what do you got? We got, what do we got here? We got to tow the rest of the way, but save so much money. Yeah, that's true. It would have been way more money if we were farther down. I'm lost. I'm not following. I always get lost. Crystal says, I drink a non-alcoholic beer after work. Placebo effect takes the stress away. Yeah, that's not a bad strategy. I know it's like, back when I was quitting smoking, I switched over to the vape, and I was like doing vapes. And for a while, I ran on vapes. And then I ended up quitting completely. But they make non-nicotine vapes. So you can keep vaping without getting the nicotine. So that you can kind of like wean yourself off. And like still deal with like the oral fixation thing. But you don't have to actually like smoke anything. And continue to feed yourself nicotine. Again, that wasn't really for me. But for some people, that's like the ticket. And I'm glad that exists. I think we should all be trying to work towards quitting if we're smoking. Like, again, I'm not trying to tell anybody how to live their life, and like I don't have any problem with it or ever tell you. I love the smell of cigarettes, especially if you walk by like the bar and there's people like out on the patio smoking. It's like, man, I love those. They're terrible. They're terrible for you. I've kind of waited on the whole, like, depending on the civilization, like if things really like collapse into complete chaos, I'm totally gonna smoke. Like if it goes to complete trash, it's like apocalypse, you're gonna see me like leather jacket, cigarette hanging out of my mouth, riding a motorcycle that I obviously stole, but no one's gonna miss it because it's the apocalypse, right? I'm going that route. It's gonna be Mad Max for me. Yeah, Wendy said, I love smoking, that's why I quit. Yeah, that's exactly the feeling right there. Like, I was spending too much money, and I really liked it too much, so I had to give it up, you know what I'm saying? Sammy says, I have a necklace that's supposed to emulate the feeling of a pole. BS, but it helps a bit with the oral fixation. How you doing, by the way, Sammy? I know you've been trying, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I know that both you and Ryan have been trying to quit. I hope you guys have been doing good. You know, it doesn't mean, like, even if you fail, you can try again. It took me, like, 2 or 3 major tries. Like, not like, oh, I think I'm going to try. Like, I was like, oh, I was all in and failed 2 or 3 times. And I just, I smoked for a while, and then I was like, I gotta stop this, dude. And I did it again, and then I actually got past it. So, it takes some time. Mama Khan says, only if they bring back cloves. Oh, they got rid of it, right? See, you can't even enjoy cigarettes anymore. Write that down in Bible too. Write that in your book. Write that in the book of Mama Khan. I was talking about it. We got first and second con. Those will be my books. But Con the Revelator. No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. But yeah. Yeah, write that in your story, that they arbitrarily banned what you were allowed to roll up and smoke. Yeah, that's true. That's that's one of the key elements of Bible 2. They tried to tell you you couldn't roll things up and smoke them. Tell me if that's not a violation of dominion, if there ever was such a thing, right? All things are lawful, but not all things are profitable. But apparently not all things are lawful, because according to the government of Satan, like, they want you to die, but they want you to die from Marlboro Reds and Newport menthol, but not any clove options, by the way. At least not in this state. I don't know if that's a federal thing. I remember at one point Barack Obama, who was a cigarette smoker, oversaw a federal change of law that made it so they couldn't call, like, the gold pack cigarettes, couldn't call them light anymore. Even though it doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even matter if, like, let's say, for instance, it was lighter or not. That's not the point. They were trying to be like, hey, you can't decide for yourself. You might be dissuaded to believe a light cigarette is somehow less deadly when it's not. And it's like, you know, I don't know, dude. Again, I'm not advocating for cigarettes. I know I just said a minute ago, I'd go back to smoking the second... The second this society collapses, I'm going to be drinking, smoking, and driving muscle cars, and there ain't a thing y'all can do about it. Wacky tobacco. No, but seriously, though, I do think people should always be making steps. This is what the projects are, right? This is what I was talking about. Not the projects, but projects, right? These are small goals, things we have to work on. I think quitting smoking is a project. I'm in the middle of like 2 car projects, and in order to make the car project better, I'm going to be building out an area that's going to serve as the shop. There's like a carport, and we're going to put some toolboxes in there and like get it set up so we can start having a covered area with a flat patio thing to actually work. Because my brother's truck, he's got a 91 F-150 that he got when he was in high school, and he's still got it. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I bet you a battery and a fresh tank of gas it would drive, but it needs everything, you know. So we're gonna start tearing that thing apart and rebuilding that old truck. So between Blanca and Sam's truck and several other cars around here that need work, there's gonna be some new content coming to the channel for sure. And I initially made Cult of Cars videos only for Patreon, and we might do that again, like just to start, but they will become publicly available. In fact, I have the original Cult of Cars video that was about working on my white car, Blanca, and I'll share that. I'll publicly make that available on the channel for you guys if anyone want to watch that. That'll be like, that's the pilot for the show. It's the show pilot, so I'll put those videos up too for those people who want to watch that. Of course, it's not for everybody, but that's what this is about. It's a variety. I'm a variety person. I think I said that once in like the first episode of the show. What kind of a stream is this? It's a variety show. So they are like a drug. I don't know. I feel like I'm out of context. Val says it's gonna need a whole gas tank. Pump, water pump, probably alternator, belts, oil change, trans fluid brakes. Well, here's the thing. It hasn't sat there for a very long time. Like, it hasn't just been sitting forever. I mean, it stopped driving probably like a year or 2 ago. But I do know what you're saying. We're going to pretty much be hitting up the aftermarket and like getting all new everything for it. It's a 300 straight 6 4x4 extended cab short bed truck. It's like a kind of it's a pretty cool configuration. It's a XLT Lariat 300 straight 6 4x4 extended cab short bed truck. Pretty cool. I think it's 91 is the year. Oh yeah, Val says every car I've resurrected after sitting for 10 to 15 years, the tanks are black inside. Yeah, I'm assuming that it's probably not like that because he'd been driving it up until pretty recently when it finally like took. It's not even mechanically crapped out. One of the valve stems started leaking. The tire went flat, and the tires are old, and he needs new tires. And he's been kind of, coming back. He's been trying to make, he came back from Afghanistan, and then there was a bunch of he had a bunch of stuff he had to cover, and he had to like get his own car registered, his Subaru and stuff. So it's just time, you know how it is, man. Like parts cost an arm and a leg, and then you're already at work, and then you get off work, and you have to work all day to try to fix your junk. I get it. Allison M says, nice truck. I thought about having an old truck rebuilt, but this one was an easy bargain. Yeah, and it sometimes doesn't need a whole lot to get an old truck back on the road, Trying Trish Clark says, they want us hooked on everything they sell. Mama Khan says, not clove ciggies, they're from Indonesia. Okay. Steven, what's up, my friend? Welcome in. Yeah, the Wednesday nights, they tend to be the most chill night for me of the week because I obviously, except for maybe Friday, I really like being on like the Ceiling Fan Man chat. That's always a lot of fun. I really like his show. Great community, right? Basically the whole party bus there. Of course, I love visiting our regulars. Like I was watching Paul's video earlier. Was that yesterday? I don't know. It's hard to keep up these days because I'm always at work. You know, I used to be able to like listen to these shows while I was at work, but I end up being more busy. I have other things going on, you know? And so it's kind of like I can't tune in as much as I want to, but I try to catch up with everyone as I can. I usually listen to them. I haven't been in the chat as much as I like to be in. A lot of it is because of that dang car, because I'm trying to get a car that works. So I would love to introduce you guys to my beautiful project, and I will. And instead of doing the intro like I wanted to for the show, the new intro, we got postponed by the car not being in inoperable condition for the shoot, which we will be doing anyway. But up till that point, there's going to be other content that have to do with fixing and bringing this car back to life. And some of the work I've already done. I'll walk you guys through some of that, and I'll also be sharing with you guys the nitty-gritty of this process that's going to include doing this kind of, I guess you could say, a patchwork repair to get it back on the road because of the condition that it's in, and then ultimately there's probably going to be like an actual engine swap that happens, which is just going to be crazy. So am I an amateur mechanic? Yes. Am I going to learn a lot of lessons the hard way? Yes. But at the same time, I think it'll be a lot of fun to be for that kind of demographic. Like some people do like that stuff a lot, so that'll be for them. Guys Got 8, we're gonna start getting some actual food cooking up. Like I'm gonna start learning and making recipes. Hopefully in the future I'll actually be a pretty good chef. And then obviously Sunday service will continue as per usual. I'm hoping to increase Burj Khalifa as well. If I can get my car fixed, then I can get on the road. I'm thinking about getting a gym membership and really like going up to the next level with this. So fitness and motivation is on the way. And obviously, guys, I know I'm kind of joking about this, but you know, because I talk about like Bible too, like we're writing the history of what will be read by the future. Like, yes, there's some truth to that. You know, make sure you keep track of things. When I was younger, just a few years ago, really, 10 years maybe, I got really into conspiracy theories. I was on Telegram, had a bunch of cool channels I followed, and I had a huge archive on there of all the crazy stuff, conspiracy theory videos, pictures, and write-ups and Substacks and people to follow and all this. And I had all this like huge archive of stuff, but I'd never like saved anything. I never downloaded anything or whatever. And at one point the Telegram I had got compromised by some hackers or whatever, and I couldn't get back into it. It wouldn't let me use the phone number that I had because the phone number wasn't my real phone number, and it got compromised in some way. And then it was like, no, those numbers are all fake, and they're from what you call it, like they're generated, they're not real. Anyway, it's a long story short. But I lost like all my stuff, so it's worth writing stuff down. You know, like even though I joke about Bible too, like it's worth keeping a journal or documenting your life and your experience and your story, because there will be like JT said, the future will be live streamed. Like there'll come a point where people will look back and want to see what happened for real, not just listen to it or read it from a book, but actually like you know, take it firsthand from the person who saw it, right? Like the witness testimonies are the ones that are most valuable, not just the story about what you heard, but the things you actually experienced and saw. So that's part of our life, is experiencing and seeing things that we will take with us into eternity, and also that we'll leave behind for those that come after us. That's pretty crazy. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately in terms of like, you know, projects and the things we keep, the records we keep and what we write and such. And I've been thinking about starting the project of this book that I've been wanting to write. And I think that, you know, I talk about this a lot. Like I have a lot of projects, dude. I have a lot of ideas, and I'm not giving up at all. In fact, I think that if you just keep firing, you'll eventually get one, and then you can do the next one and the next one. There's no reason to stop. Like there's a reason we're here. So, you know, trust God, take the risk, do the work. I like that formula. I don't know. I came up with that at the start of this show, and I think that's like what we should aim for. And so for me, it's like the project I want to take on is this book, right? I brought it up in the past, but it's called New Life Resolution. And it's kind of like, every year we have our New Year's resolution and what we want to change, how we want to improve this year versus last year. Well, in Christ, you take on a new man and you put to death the old man. You become a new creation in Christ. And so this is about not just an annual change for the purpose of doing better next year versus last year. This is about making a change for forever against your entire past, your whole future against your whole past. And I want to reflect on what that looks like and how that plays out in your life with real nitty gritty, like the kind of stuff that happened during my crash out, where I'm like willing to say it for what it is, right? Like if you're going to, take on the challenge of following the Lord and going down the narrow way, you should be prepared. You should know that it's not easy and fun. The church always, historically has been kind of this safe place, so to speak. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's truly safe, but it's always kind of, invited people and kind of maybe sold people the gospel in the idea that it doesn't include a bunch of hard times and uphill struggles and stuff to grow and change and become this different person than who you used to be. And so that's pretty much, the point of it. Like, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have hardships. And I want to write a book about that. I want to write a book about what it means to resolve, and I'll talk a little bit about some characters. Like one guy that I've been bringing up a lot is David Goggins, because he was like almost 400 pounds. I think he was 400 pounds, super fat. Like he was sickly fat, morbidly obese. And then he went from being like 400 pounds to being a Navy SEAL, which like healthy people can't get in. Healthy people can't do the work. So, he goes from being extremely sick and fat, all the disadvantages in the world, and he said, I don't want to be that way anymore. I'm going to change. And that's like, if you can see a guy change his life for secular reasons, because he doesn't want to be fat, because he doesn't want to be a loser, how much farther can you go for higher than thou reasons, right? If you have a purpose greater than yourself. Not just because you are the guy that failed you, right? If you're looking at your life and you're in a bad position, the person who got you there is you. And so you got to count on you to be the motivation to get you out. The loser who got you here is the loser that's going to get you out. No, it's time to have a bigger inspiration, a better inspiration, the true inspiration, right? The way, the truth, and the life. That is Christ Jesus. Let's go. Everyone's talking about how tall they are. I think I'm like 5'7", but I don't like to say that because every guy who's 5'6" says they're 5'7", like tries to sneak in an inch to feel better about it. And I just say 5'6" because it is what it is. Besides, I'm not like, trying to brag or anything, but my great ancestor, King David, was likely about the same height as me and probably looked just like me. Just joking. Maybe he was ruddy. My face is a little red. My beard's a little bit red. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. That's not the point. The point is, you don't have to be a big guy to swing a sling or to crank a wrench or to make a music video or to go on and babble for 2 hours on a Wednesday night about almost nothing. But there's always something to say, dude. We live in a strange time in history, and I'm grateful that I get to be here for the ride with all of you guys. That's literally what it is. I was just like a weird sweat lord in a dark room playing video games all day and watching like the world degenerate and thinking, man, what is going on? And it's actually really cool. Like, we actually have something going on here. We're doing something. The Lord's doing something. There's like a stir in the water, you know what I mean? The people can feel it too. Like, Paul was talking about it. I heard JT talking about it recently. And we've said this before, and the day would come, right, where the eschatology of Little Season, the understanding of biblical cosmology, knowing that the government's evil, escaping the two-party system, overcoming the religious control of the pseudo-Christianity system, the churchianity thing, all of these big accomplishments that we've gone through and we've overcome through the help of the Lord, through his work, through the guidance of the Holy Spirit and the illuminating of the Lord. We've learned a lot of important things, and we're not alone. These ideas are sweeping across the world right now. At the same time that everything's degenerating, it's creating like a resistance faction of truth. It's causing the truth to flourish You know, because every time they lie on top of the lie, you know you're right. It's like reaffirming what you know, that there is a God who created the world. There is a battle. We are in a war, and that we were sent here for a purpose, for a time and a season that the Lord prepared just for us, just for you. We're all here for a purpose, even in the days that suck, even when we rely on a chariot that sucks. You know what I mean? Whatever, dude. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the perfect story. And so it's like, for me, it's like, yo, dude, we're living through Bible 2 right now. Let's go. Instead of being upset about it, instead of being worried about it, you know, let's do what Jesus says. He says, don't worry about these things. God's going to take care of us. If we seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, all these things will be added to us. So, you know, what are we going to do as we go forward? What are the pages of Bible 2 going to say about you and your life? Are you going to be a Judas who betrayed the Lord? Or are you going to be a zealot? Are you going to be a crazy Sprite and Kool-Aid mixture drinking cultist who believed in Christ, who believed his words were true? That's who I'm going to be. I'm going to be reading out the book of life, and they're like, what did this guy do? And be like, he fought like a maniac. They wrapped me up in the straitjacket, and I thrashed around the whole time. Because I ain't going down without a fight. This party bus is going off the rails, and this party bus is going straight to the kingdom, destination kingdom. You know what I'm talking about, right? Let's go, dude. Guys, it's been awesome having you guys here. That's about it, huh? That's 2 hours. All right, well, it's been a great hump day, honestly. I feel good. I'm ready to finish off the week. I hope you guys are as well. I hope this has been a good little chat with you guys. And, of course, we'll be back on Friday for another episode of Bulge Khalifa. And then, of course, Sunday, we'll be back for Sunday service. And you know what, this week, you know what we're going to talk about? We're probably going to talk about the armor of God. So, hey, it's old but gold, and obviously something we all need, including me, especially me, right? Because I'm over here yelling about how the world should be run by a Christ government. Like, you know what? Screw illegal immigration. Everyone's illegal. Their whole country's a lie. Ah, sheesh. Never forget, you're an honorable noodle boy. I'm also like I'm a half ginger. I'm not even really a true ginger. Like, what is my identity anymore? All right, guys. With all that being said, this has been episode, well, I guess we call it level over here, don't we? This has been level 46 of the Main Character Podcast, made possible by the Cult of Con. That's you guys. I am Con Man, and thank you for being here. We will see you guys in the next one next week, and we will be back this weekend for Sunday service. I'll see you there. God bless you guys.
I'm the man, I'm the king, I'm rejecting what you think, rearranging your mentality, got some Kool-Aid you can drink. It's a scam, it's a plan, it's a con, and I'm your man. You know I tell it like it is, I hold the secrets in my hands. Reflection and introspection is my profession. I'm recklessly disrespecting what you expect, and investing in my discretion, teaching the lessons, impressions to keep you guessing what I do next, man.
Now when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan will be released from his prison. He will go forth to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together for the final battle, an army whose number is as the sand of the sea.
It's amazing the affirmations that come my way when I fake it until I make it. The truth is waiting, complacent organizations. They say I'm racist, they hate, and they making payments on my vacation. I'm the man, I'm the king, I'm rejecting what you think, rearranging your mentality, got some Kool-Aid you can drink. It's a scam.